I'm 8 days into weighing myself every single day and sharing my raw, unfiltered thoughts about the number on Instagram. And let me tell you, this has brought up so much stuff. Shame, comparison, anxiety over the weekend, thoughts I didn't even know I still had. But here's what I'm realizing. It's not the number that's the problem. It's what we make that number mean. So today I'm pulling back the curtain on what's coming up for me in the first 8 days of this challenge. And I'm giving you the exact tools I'm using to manage my brain about the scale so that you can use them too. Whether you weigh yourself every day, once a week, or never, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Smith, and I lost 50 pounds riding my bike by focusing on what my body can do. Now, I teach other women how to do the same. I am obsessed with completely flipping the script on weight loss so that we can work out to feel good and feel strong. If you are ready to stop dieting, learn how to appreciate your body, and have fun riding your bike, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Okay, before we dive in today, I have to tell you, I am currently in the middle of a 30-day challenge where I'm weighing myself every single day and sharing my raw reactions on Instagram and YouTube. And here's why I'm doing this. I want to show you that you can weigh yourself without spiraling, that the number on the scale doesn't have to control how you feel about yourself. You can look at it and just see it as data and information, nothing more, nothing less. Now, if you're listening to this in real time while I'm still posting, head on over to Instagram at Sassy Cycling. That's SASCY Cycling, and follow along with me for all 30 days because here's what I really want. I want to hear from you. Whether you're listening to this during the challenge or even months from now, I want to know what your relationship with the scale is like. Does it mess with your head? Do you avoid it? Do you weigh yourself every day, once a week? I'm just so curious. Please reply to my emails, DM me on Instagram, or leave a comment on this episode. I'm reading absolutely every single comment and responding, and I really want to help you. Okay, so let's talk about what I have learned so far. So welcome back to the podcast. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, I want to send you an extra special warm welcome. And I am so glad you are here. So I know that I have talked about the scale before on the podcast. I did a whole episode, I think it was episode number 8, on how to have a healthy relationship with your scale. If you haven't listened to that one yet, do please make sure that you check it out because it is super helpful. It's a good one. But today's episode is actually going to be a little bit different because I'm not talking about whether you should weigh yourself or how often, but I'm talking about what happens when you do. The thoughts that come up, the shame, the comparison, the anxiety, the I screwed up over the weekend spiral. Because here's the thing, I've been doing this every single day for the past 8 days as a part of a 30-day challenge on social media. I know, it's crazy. I'm not even really a social media person, but here we are. And even though I lost 50 pounds 6 years ago and I've kept it off, even though I'm a weight loss coach who teaches this stuff, my brain is still trying to mess with me. So today I'm kind of pulling back the curtain on that. I'm sharing the actual thoughts that came up for me in the first 8 days, and I'm giving you the exact tools I'm using to manage those thoughts so that you can use them too. Does that sound good? Okay. So by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what to do when the scale brings up those thoughts. You're going to have those 3 tools that you can use right now to stop letting the number control how you feel. And you're going to see that you're not alone because even coaches struggle with this stuff. So this is about really being honest, giving yourself grace, and learning how to think about the scale differently. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is when you think you're doing everything right and the scale does not reflect it or cooperate it. So one of the most common thoughts that comes up when we step on the scale is, oh, I did everything right. Why isn't it going down? And that thought can send us into a complete spiral. So on day 5 of this challenge, the scale was actually down a little bit. It was down 0.2 pounds. And I was like, what? I really expected it to be down way more. So Monday, it was up a little bit, 1.1 pounds. That's typical for me on a Monday. Tuesday, it was down. Wednesday, it was down. Thursday, it was down. Friday, down. And I was basically only back where I started at the beginning of the week. And for a split second, my brain was like, see, nothing's working. You're not doing enough. You're failing. But here's what I know now that I didn't know 6 years ago when I started this. Weight loss is not linear. So many things impact the number that have nothing to do with your effort, with actual body mass. First of all, I'm on a new hormone treatment for the past couple of weeks. My sleep has been absolute garbage because I'm stressed with that, with work, with pretty much everything. I'm having a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep. My body's adjusting. And none of this means I'm doing anything wrong. It just means my body's doing what bodies do. And so when you think, oh my gosh, I did everything right, the scale isn't cooperating, here's what I want you to do. First of all, list all the other factors that could be affecting the number, like stress, sleep, hormones. Did you have a lot of salt yesterday? Could you be retaining more water than usual? Are you sore from a workout because our muscles tear and retain water when we do a hard workout? Remind yourself, this is just one data point. It's not the whole story. It is just one piece of information and not even the most important piece, okay? And then I want you to ask yourself, what am I doing right? Am I moving my body? Are you making food choices that feel good? Are you showing up for yourself? That's the kind of stuff that matters. So here's what I want you to think about. Have you ever had a week where, you feel like you did everything right and the scale didn't cooperate? Either it went up, it went down, or it didn't go down enough? And what if it just didn't mean anything about you at all? What if it was just your body doing what bodies do, right? I want you to kind of think about that a little bit. All right, so that's the first thought that came up for me. Now let me tell you about the second one. And this one really kind of messed me up a little bit this week. I'm not going to lie. So sometimes scale kind of brings up comparison, and it can bring up a little bit of shame. And sometimes it's not just the number itself, it's what that number makes us think about ourselves. And this idea of, oh, I'm not good enough. So day 6, the scale was down about 0.4 pounds, but here's what actually happened is that the scale didn't ask me if I was my husband. So let me explain. My husband and I share a smart scale, and when my weight creeps up and gets closer to his, the scale can't tell which one of us is on it. And so it makes us do this acrobatic thing where we have to stand on one leg, and so I can figure out who's who. And that really used to mess with my head because I knew it would do the same thing when he got on the scale, and he would know that my weight had crept up and was getting close to his again. And he would never say so necessarily. He's not a monster. But I would feel ashamed. In the back of my head, I'd be like, oh, Chris is going to see that. And he doesn't care. but I think that someone else out there knows what's happening and going on with my weight, and that's going to be a problem. And I mean, imagine with all those thoughts, me now just putting it on the Instagram. But so here's what I'm kind of learning about all of this is my body's different from his. It's different from yours. It's different from anyone else's. And I don't need to let that bother me anymore. So when the scale doesn't ask me to do that kind of one-legged thing, I didn't see it as this big milestone or victory. And thank God, because the next day it asked me again because my weight was up. I just saw it as kind of an interesting situation. It wasn't that important. I was like, oh, so it's not asking me who I am again. That's great. So what used to make me feel ashamed really doesn't make me feel ashamed anymore. When you find that the scale kind of brings up shame or comparison for you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to notice that. I want you to notice this thought of, oh, I'm ashamed that my weight is getting closer to my husband's, or I'm ashamed that I'm heavier than some other people. I know when I started this challenge even, I was concerned about putting my number out there for the world to see because I thought people might compare their number to mine, and that either might not be a good thing for them or it might make me feel bad somehow. And, these are all just thoughts that we're having about this one piece of information. And so what I want you to ask yourself is this thought helping me or hurting me? It wasn't helping me to think that my weight, my actual number, was going to be like bigger or lower or higher or whatever than anyone else's. And so when I got to that point of thinking, oh, this isn't really helping me, that allowed me to choose a different thought. So I want you to think about, can I choose a different thought? Can I think, hey, you know what? My number is different from someone else's and it's my number, and who really cares? I'm not focusing on that number. I'm focusing on what my body can do, not what it looks like, or not what someone else's body looks like. So what I want you to think about is, has the scale ever brought up this comparison for you? Have you ever felt like your number should be higher or lower than somebody else's number, whether it be, your partner, your friends, your past self? Maybe you feel like you should weigh the same number or have the same number on the scale that you did when you were in high school. What are some of the thoughts that are coming up for you? And what could happen if you chose to think something a little bit different? What if you thought something different about that number? Is there something a little bit more neutral, something a little bit less negative, something that isn't necessarily kind of this Pollyanna, oh, I love the number sort of feeling, because your brain is way too smart to believe that, but something that you can believe that will neutralize the thought and take the power away from the scale and put it back where it belongs, which is with you. Okay, so that was the second thought that I had, was that, oh, well, look, it's either, comparing me to my husband or it's not. But what I want to tell you about, or what I want to talk about next, is this third idea and this third thought that still comes up for me after weighing myself for years. And this is the idea of getting anxious about blowing it over the weekends. And here's this thought. This thought still gets me. And it's something along the lines of, I'm going to blow it this weekend. I'm going to eat too much. The scale is going to go up. I'm going to ruin all my progress. And the number is going to be even higher this Monday than it was last Monday. So this weekend, I had Chinese food for dinner on Saturday, and I bet you know exactly what happened. The scale went up Sunday morning. And then Sunday, I went to a football party. My team, my friends, is doing pretty well. Cross your fingers for me. And I did not restrict myself at the football party either, just because I had a big dinner the night before. So here's the thing, though. We eat 21 meals a week on average, right? And if I overeat at a couple of them because I'm really enjoying the food and the company and I love the experience, that doesn't mean that I'm screwing up. It doesn't mean that I'm undoing my whole week and undoing all of the progress. This tends to be a pattern for me. My food choices at events on the weekends means I generally eat a little more on the weekend, and the scale goes up on Monday. And for me personally, that's okay. I've made it not mean anything about me or anything about my body or what my body's doing. It's just my choices and my reality, and they're okay. It's more important for me to enjoy the food and enjoy the company than to stress out about it. So the scale was up on Monday again, just like I knew it would be. And if you've been with me on this journey, I know some of you have been following me on this journey, you know that you've already seen this pattern. And normally, again, I'll be super honest with you, I don't even weigh myself on the weekends normally because I know what's going to happen and I don't really feel like dealing with it. And that's okay too. But I'm doing it this weekend, and I'm doing it every weekend during this challenge just to be really transparent and to also, see if I can grow myself a little bit, because even as a coach, even as a weight loss coach, there is always room for growth. So here's what I want for you. When you're anxious about blowing it, here's what I want you to do. First, I want you to remind yourself, this is not actual body mass gain. It's salt. It's sodium. It's water retention. It's your body adjusting. Okay. And so you're not actually gaining a couple pounds of fat over the weekend. That's something that's really important to keep in mind. Make the choice in advance too about what you're going to do. I'm going to enjoy this meal. I'm going to enjoy this event. The scale might go up, and that's okay. I'm going to focus less on what I'm eating and focus more on, am I satisfied, or am I getting to a point where I'm getting full or overfill? Like, do I feel like I need to overfull? Do I feel like I need to unbutton my pants? That might be something that I want to focus on in these kinds of situations, as opposed to, feeling like I have to restrict all of the things that I really want to eat. So I want you to kind of think about these ideas with the weekends in particular. Do you feel anxious about the weekends? Do you feel anxious about parties and events? Do you feel like you have to restrict yourself through them and be good so that you don't undo your progress? And what if you made the choice in advance to actually enjoy the event without guilt, without shame, without restriction? Knowing the scale may go up a little bit, and that's just what happens. Seeing kind of this pattern and discovering the patterns of your body, like I've discovered the patterns in mine. Generally, on Monday mornings, the scale is up. Generally, the scale tends to trend down as the week goes on. It's so important not to get so attached to the day to day. Okay? So those are the three big thoughts that have come up for me in just a week of weighing myself every day. Now, let me tell you about the absolute most important thing that I've learned this week. The question really isn't, should I weigh myself? It is more, can I do it without making it mean something about me? And I'm just going to be super honest with you. If when you get on the scale, it causes so much anxiety and you beat yourself up so much that you just feel terrible, don't do it. Just don't do it. You might not be ready yet. You might not be ready ever. This might not just be a marker that is useful to you. And that's the thing about when we learn how to focus on what our bodies can do and when we learn how to love and appreciate our bodies for what they're capable of, then we stop caring about the things that really just don't matter. Because whether or not you personally weigh yourself every day or should weigh yourself every day depends entirely on how you are going to think about it. If you see it go up, if you see that number go up and it makes you spiral, if it makes you think you blew it and you screwed up, then don't weigh yourself every day. Don't even necessarily weigh yourself every week. Like I said, maybe you don't weigh yourself at all. Because if you make that number mean that you've failed, you are so much more likely to throw up your hands and say it doesn't matter anyway and stop trying. Or to start engaging in really disordered eating patterns. That's the thing, is that so many women historically have made choices based on that number, and those have not always been healthy choices. Those have not always been the best choices for us. So that's something that we have to be really mindful of and really careful about. Because if you're making that number mean that you failed, then you're going to really just be unhappy. And the whole idea is to love and appreciate our bodies for what they can do. But if you can look at the number and if you can say like, okay, I ate differently this weekend, the scale's up and that's just what happens, because that really is truly what happens for me, then daily weigh-ins might help you see the pattern. It might help you stop freaking out every time the number moves. So the question really shouldn't be, should I weigh myself every day? The question is, can you do it without making it mean something about you? And if you can't do that right now, then maybe you just don't weigh yourself. And that's 100% okay. So here's what I want you to kind of think about specifically in order to figure out whether or not this is a good idea for you. First of all, notice how you feel when you step on the scale. Are you anxious? Are you spiraling? Are you feeling like if this doesn't go well, then I'm going to have to completely change everything? Are you beating yourself up? If the answer is yes, then stop. Use other markers of progress. Use how you feel day to day. Use, how your clothes are fitting. Track some habits. Maybe you just have a checklist for water and you're making sure you get, your 8 ounces or your 64 ounces of water in every day. Have a different marker of health, because this really isn't the best one. It's only one. And there are others that are just so much more important. If you are feeling a little bit more ambivalent about the number and a little bit more like, oh, okay, I'm curious, let's see what's happening and what's going on, then it's okay to keep going and to weigh yourself more frequently. But keep noticing these thoughts. Be aware of these thoughts. Keep choosing the thoughts that actually help you instead of ones that hurt you. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Can I weigh myself without making it mean something about me? If you can, then it's probably an okay thing to do. If not, that's okay too. Use other tools. Focus on how you feel. Focus on measuring what feels good, measuring your habits, saying, oh, my clothes are fitting better, or I have done 2 strength workouts this week and that was my goal and that feels great. It does not need to be the scale. Okay, so those are the 4 big lessons that I've learned so far, and I just want to recap really quickly and talk to you about what's happening and what's going on next. So first, when you think you're doing everything right and the scale doesn't cooperate, list all the other factors. Remind yourself it is just one data point and ask yourself what sorts of things you are doing right instead of focusing on this one number that may or may not be where you want it to be. 2, when the scale brings up any kind of shame or comparison, notice that, become aware of it. Ask yourself if it's helping you or hurting you. And if it's hurting you, then choose a different thought. Say, I'm not going to think about it this way. I'm going to choose to think about it differently. 3, when you're anxious about blowing it on the scale, blowing it over the weekend, remind yourself that it's not actual mass gain. Make the choice in advance to enjoy your experiences, your weekend experiences, and don't feel like you have to restrict or do a huge workout the next day in order to make up for it, okay? Fourth, the question really isn't, should I weigh myself? It's more, can I weigh myself without making it mean something about me? And if you can't do that right now, then it's probably not the greatest idea. So these are the tools that I've been using every single day during this challenge, and they're working. Not because the number is going down, it's not really, but because I'm not letting that number control how I feel about myself. And that, my friend, is the whole point. So here's what I need from you. I need to know that I am not just talking to myself here. So whether you're listening to this while I'm still in the middle of the challenge or months from now, years from now, I want to hear from you. I want to know what your relationship with the scale is like. Does it mess with your head? Do you avoid it completely? Do you weigh yourself every day, every week, or whenever the mood strikes you? Are you fine with it? Do you feel good? Or are you kind of somewhere in between? I'd love for you to reach out. You can email me at Stacy, STACY, at sassy, that's SASCY.com. You can DM me on the Instagrams at sassy, SASCY cycling. You can leave a comment on any of my challenge videos. I'm also trying to get them all posted to YouTube. I have a new YouTube channel. I'll link that in the show notes as well. And, here's the thing. I just really want to hear from you, because I've been doing the challenge publicly so that you can see that even coaches struggle with this stuff. And even, someone who's lost 50 pounds and kept it off is still having these kinds of thoughts that try to mess with our heads. But the difference is I'm not letting those thoughts win anymore, and you don't have to either. So tell me what's coming up for you. Share your story. Let me help. And again, if you're listening to this in real time and you want to follow along with me for the next 30 days or the rest of the 30 days, I don't even know how many days are left, head on over to Instagram at Sassy Cycling, watch it unfold in real time, drop comments on any of the videos, tell me what's resonating, tell me what you're struggling with, tell me I'm insane, anything that you want. I am reading everything, and I want you to know that you are not alone in this. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I am so grateful for you. Now, go manage your brain about that scale. You've got this. And seriously, just like I said, reach out. Let me know how things are going for you. DM me, comment. I want to hear from you. Talk soon. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. Be sure to head on over to sassy.com/guide, SASCY.com/guide, to get my completely free Lose Weight Biking Quick Start Guide so that you can get started with simple, doable weight loss today. That's SASCY.com/guide.